Mr. Nichols, how would you describe your son?
Well, first of all, I would have to say that Dash is the most sensitive, caring person I've ever known in my life. He's just one of those people who seems to live for others. He would do anything for a friend.
Did he get into much trouble as a child?
No. No, he always had a very good sense of right and wrong. And that's carried over into his political involvement. Dash believes that we have a moral and ethical responsibility to each other, which is why he's so concerned about the environment.
Do unto others.
Yeah, do unto others. What you give is what you get. And I don't really see how he can believe otherwise and accomplish all that he has. He's devoted his life to the common good. And I make saints out of people like that, not criminals.
No further questions.
Your witness?
Mr. Nichols, what can you tell the court about Eileen Becker?
She was a woman that Dash knew when he was an intern.
Just any woman?
Well, I don't know, Mr. Timmons. I didn't meet her. I only heard about her.
Did you happen to hear that she was married? Just like the prof at med school? The one he couldn't leave alone? Like Ms. Wainwright?
Objection. Now who is leading the witness?
Sustained.
Is it not a fact, Mr. Nichols, that Eileen Becker was a married woman when your son became involved with her, and not only involved with her, but hostile and competitive with her husband as well, like he was with Mason Capwell?
Objection. Irrelevant.
Your Honor, counsel for the defense is claiming that Nichols' so-called impeccable background discredits the charge against him. I'm simply establishing a quite different version of his background that supports it.
Overruled. You may continue, Mr. Timmons.
Mr. Nichols, what happened to Mrs. Becker?
She died.
Of natural causes?
No.
Of what then?
Complications arising from abdominal surgery.
A routine appendectomy, isn't that correct? She died of acute peritonitis, didn't she? A botched operation. Who was held responsible for
My
her death?
son was not responsible for that woman's death. I don't care what
Your
anybody...
Honor!
Withdrawn. Mr. Nichols, when your son was a resident in Mount Rainier Memorial Hospital, what was his specialty?
I beg your pardon.
Pediatrics? Surgery? Ear, nose, and throat?
I don't know.
When your son was forced out of medicine and took up environmental causes, did he pursue any graduate degrees?
Oh, Your Honor, what is the point here?
The point, Your Honor, is that this father is testifying as to the character of his son. I simply want to establish how well he knows him.
Overruled.
Mr. Nichols?
I don't really know what happened to Dash after he left the hospital.
What's his telephone number?
I have it in my book.
You don't know your own son's telephone number?
I know he's not a rapist. I know that.
Tragically, Miss Wainwright knows him better than that. No further questions.
You have children, Mr. Timmons? A father knows his son, and my son is a good human being.
Order. Redirect.
Mr. Nichols, did you ever lose complete contact with your son?
No, never.
In fact, didn't Dash merely maintain the normal independence of an adult child? He would certainly have told you of any truly important events in his life, would he not?
Absolutely.
And did he ever once mention planning to marry Eileen Becker?
No.
But then why should he? He cared for her, but she was a married woman. He knew where to draw the line.
No, he didn't. He
But
expected to marry her. He told me that
Julia
himself.
Wainwright
Relax.
is a divorced
Already
woman.
established.
Available, one
The
might
man didn't
say.
know the first thing about his son.
Is there the slightest resemblance between the two situations?
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Apart from what the prosecution has bent over backwards to manufacture. Your Honor, If it please the court, the defense rests.
What are you doing here, Mason?
I couldn't stay away. Where are we?
Close to the summations.
How does
Your
that
Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the
Too
jury,
close to call, Mason.
we've heard a good deal of conflicting testimony today, most of it designed to obscure one simple fact, which remains all too clear. A woman was raped. Forget Dash Nichols, the humanitarian, the model son, the defender of noble causes, and consider the one description that really matters. The defendant is a man with a history of obsessing on married women. He deliberately blinded himself to Julia's true feelings about him, and when she tried to clear up the misunderstanding, his need to possess her overwhelmed him, and despite her repeated protests, Dash Nichols raped Julia Wainwright. What evidence do we have to the contrary? He says he didn't. It was for love. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Julia wasn't loving it when he dragged her down on that floor and raped her. If you love someone, you don't delude yourself into believing that they want you when they've made it only too clear that they don't. Rape is about power, not sex, most certainly not about love. Nichols tried to control Julia the only way he could. Don't do to her what he has already done. Put the rapist away before he has a chance to fall in love with someone else. Thank you.
You know the tough thing about a case like this? Separating your feelings from what you must perceive to be the truth. The prosecution would have you focus on the facts, and I couldn't agree more. The fact is, Julia Wainwright and Dash Nichols were romantically involved. She herself admitted that they slept together the first time initiated by her. And on the second occasion, when she claims he raped her, there was no violence, no threats, nothing to remotely indicate that she had been taken against her will. What are we to make of these facts? Especially in light of the fact that Ms. Wainwright's admiration and respect for Dash is a matter of public record. She has openly commended his courage and compassion. In fact, far and away, the most convincing character witness for Dash during the trial was Ms. Wainwright herself. Even she can't believe he is capable of so heinous a crime. And if the would-be victim doesn't buy it, how can you?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are now asked to decide whether the defendant is guilty on a charge of rape. Now, if you believe that Miss Wainwright was a completely unwilling victim, then you must decide that Mr. Nichols is guilty as charged. If, on the other hand, you find reason to believe that there was compliance or a justifiable perception of compliance, then it's your duty to return a verdict of not guilty. This court stands in recess until such time as the jury reaches its verdict.
All rise.
Well,
It could go either way. And there's not one damn thing we can do about it now.